Greetings friends, Jawless Paul here. In this video I'm going to show you how I managed to beat the Pantheon of the Master in Hollow Knight. The first thing to note here is I'm not going to be going over any of the bindings. This is with full health, full nail strength, and all of your charms. For a guide on that, I would recommend another video. So for the first boss, Vengefly King, this fight is fairly straightforward. His moveset is basically that he summons two of the flies and then he dive bombs you. You can typically get one, maybe two hits off of his dive bomb. I do recommend though killing his summons as quickly as possible. I don't think you get overwhelmed very quickly, but it is possible. As for charm loadouts, this loadout that I have here is nothing special. I don't think that there's a real right or a wrong way to do this. I had the Grimm child, max upgraded Grimm child. I don't think he's doing all that much for me, but I also have, long nail and a few other nail enhancing charms. I tend to have a very nail centric strategy when I fight bosses. Maybe you are more of a spell caster. If that's the case, I recommend you find the build out that does the most damage. So basically for the first boss, your goal is to end with as much soul as you can and as much health as you can. Try to avoid taking damage in that fight, as it's really not a difficult one. For this fight, you can power through this guy very quickly with Howling Wraiths and just regular nail damage. His moveset is very simple. He just bounces around the room. For False Knight, this guy really only has a couple moves that are going to be a problem for you. If you have high damage on your nail, you can really make this fight go quite quickly. You also can knock the boulders into him to do extra damage. It's not necessary to do, but can be a little bit extra. He can also fire some shockwave abilities at you, and he also does a jump attack, but if you just power him down like that, it should go fairly well for you, I think. Moss Charger is also very simple. He either jumps over you or he charges at you. You just have to kind of observe and not jump right away. This is another fight where if you are careful, if you're observant and take your time, you can avoid most damage. And that's what you want to be aiming for, getting lots and lots of your soul and not taking much damage, and just kind of slowly work him down. But he does go down fairly quickly. I always try to end every fight with full health if I can, and you should as well. Hornet's moveset is not completely unpredictable. He does the same thing over and over again. Some moves are fairly difficult to avoid. However, this is the early version of Hornet. She doesn't summon the spikes in this one. She dives you. She either charges you, throws her needle, or jumps in the air and does the silk attack. One thing I'll mention as well, guys, when you're fighting in the boss rush format with all of the bosses coming one after another, it's very easy to get exhausted, to get frustrated, to go on tilt. So I recommend, and seriously guys, I recommend taking a break if you've lost several times in a row. At a certain point you become shot, you're frustrated, you're angry, and you're not playing very well at all. I've noticed that when I play this, sometimes I'll get to the last boss like 3 times in a row, and then the next 5 times that I try, I don't get past the first wave, and that's basically because I'm angry and I can't calm down. So take a break, go get a glass of water, do some jumping jacks, touch your toes, do something to calm yourself down, and you'll be able to hit the next boss with your full strength. Gorb really isn't a threat until he's sending out multiple needles, and even then, when he is, you just have to take your time and dodge them as they come. I don't find him to be terribly difficult. Dung Defender is one of the more unpredictable bosses that you fight in this one. It can be very difficult to avoid some of his damage. However, if you have upgraded nail once again, and you've got some fragile strength or unbreakable strength, you're going to be powering through him fairly quickly. But yeah, just try to avoid as much damage as possible. When he's doing this, just get up close to him so you can hit him on the way down. Take note of what move he's about to do and avoid the damage as necessary. Soul Warrior, really not a difficult fight at all if you're taking your time and you're keeping an eye on where he's going. He transmits his attacks very clearly. The downward swipe, he appears above you. That one, he's got his sword you know, kind of up behind him, and he charges you halfway across the screen. And then there's one other move where he sends a little fireball at you that seeks you, and it's really not difficult to avoid. Just do as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible. Broody Moloch is a little bit of a technical fight. Nothing too bad. She has this swipe that she does, so you have to stay far away, and she fires these globs at you. You want to try to avoid the globs as much as possible. And really, this is when you have to jump over her at that point when she fires all the globs, because there's no way to consistently avoid that damage. But if you're just doing enough damage to her throughout the fight and avoid her swipes and then jump over her when she fires that load of orange goo, you should be good. And this gets you to the final fight. This is the fight that I had the most trouble with. Nailmaster Oro, and then his buddy shows up later on. This is another one where if you focus too much on damage, you'll get chunked down pretty quickly. At this point in the fight, he's joined by his buddy, and this is where things get a little bit more difficult, Oro and MATO, because they will fight in conjunction. However, they have the exact same moveset, -1 ability. Their charge up ability is different, so one of them will charge at you, the other one does a spin attack, and you want to try to be keeping an eye on both of them, find out which one is doing which and at which time. They do only do one mask of damage apiece, but it can be bad news if you get between them, or if you kind of get shoved into a corner like this. It's very difficult to dash through them because they're such large bodies, but if you can stay on one side of both of them, you are in much better shape, and you can kind of see what they're about to do before they do it. So just do as much consistent damage, but keep yourself safe. I'd say overall, keeping yourself safe is the most important thing with all of these fights. Avoiding damage whenever possible. Guys, thanks for watching. This has been Jawless Paul. If you're interested in the next one, the challenge of the artist, and the final one, challenge of the master, I encourage you to check out my videos on those. They are linked right here. Take it easy, guys.